Boxing has changed the lives of many boxers throughout history, but has the change always been good? Most of them went from rags to riches, but unfortunately some of them couldn't handle the wealth, falling back where they came from or maybe even lower. Did all of these boxers have downfalls due to poor financial downfalls? Or does fame and money in the boxing world always come at a cost? Beginning with the famous Ricardo El Matador Mayorga and his trash talks on number 5. Ricardo Antonio Mayorga Perez, born October 3, 1973, is a Nicaraguan professional boxer and former mixed martial artist. In boxing, he is a former 2-weight world champion, having held the Unified WBA Unified WBC Ring Magazine and Lineal Welterweight titles in 2003, and the WBC Super Welterweight title from 2005 to 2006. Mayorga first became well known to boxing fans upon being featured on the cover of The Ring's December 2003 issue, entitled "The Craziest Man in the Sport, Mayorga Lights Up Boxing." Ricardo always claimed to have poor roots. He barely survived through his childhood before joining the military, which showed him all the way to boxing. Although he once faced a controversy where he went through allegations of lying about his past and being a gang leader before entering the world of boxing. Ricardo Mayorga was a great fighter, but was mainly popular for his extreme trash talks before the match and provocative nature. People also claimed that Mayorga can make you want to kill him within 15 minutes of talking if he chooses to rub it off on you the wrong way. Mayorga had a habit of not holding back during and even before the fight with his opponents. He even crossed the limits by insulting Oscar de la Hoya's wife and children, followed by homosexuality allegations on Oscar, which led to Mayorga getting knocked out in the first minute of the fight with a left hook, which caused a huge setback for the fighter alongside the other controversies around him, leading to his downfall. Ricardo fought many big names during his career like Corey Spinks, Felix Trinidad, Vernon Forrest, Shane Mosley, and the next fighter of our list, Fernando Vargas. But things actually worsened for the boxer after his final fight against Lester Martinez on April 6, 2019. He was found in a really bad state, lost a lot of weight, and roaming on the streets like a homeless person. His condition came into limelight when he was hospitalized for getting assaulted by a gang of men. The media quickly suspected the involvement of drugs in this case, and Ricardo laid the foundation of his true life-ruining downfall by catching the drug and alcohol addiction. He eventually came to a pathetic physical and mental state that his fans started praying for his well-being and recovery. He was convinced to join rehab by former champ Rosendo Alvarez after he almost destroyed everything that he earned during his prime boxing career. He is currently on the brink of bankruptcy, and his fans, including us, still pray for his recovery. At number 2 is Fernando Javier Vargas, a warrior lost to the evil brains of businessmen. Fernando in his youth compiled a remarkable amateur record of 105. In 1992, he won the 132-pound championships at the Junior Olympics box-offs and came in second at the Junior Olympics. In 1993, he captured the Triple Crown of amateur boxing, the Junior Olympics box-offs, the Junior Olympics, and the Junior Olympics International Tournament. The following year, he solidified his position as one of the premier amateur fighters in the world by winning the 132-pound gold medal at the Olympic Festival, seizing the U.S. Junior Championships at 132 pounds, and by becoming the youngest fighter ever to win the U.S. Championships. Vargas lost a controversial decision in the second round of the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. He was scheduled to turn pro in November 1996. However, while training for his debut bout, he broke his right hand. Eager to turn pro and begin his march toward a world championship, Vargas ferociously followed his physical therapy program, and within 5 months, he was ready for his professional debut. In his professional debut on March 25, 1997, Vargas crushed Jorge Morales in just 56 seconds. He quickly beat his next 5 opponents, spending only 8 rounds in his first 6 bouts. By the time of his first world championship, he won all his 14 bouts by knockout. He won his first world title in 1998, knocking out Yuri Boy Campos in 7 rounds for the IBF Light Middleweight Championship. Vargas successfully defended the title throughout 1999. However, things quickly changed. In 2001, Vargas was sentenced to 90 days in house arrest stemming from a 1999 assault charge. Vargas and 4 friends were originally charged with assault with a deadly weapon and conspiracy to commit a crime stemming from a July 25, 1999 altercation at a Summerland, California home. The defendants were accused of assaulting Doug Rossi, 23, who had broken up a fight between Vargas and a female friend's ex-boyfriend. It was confirmed on May 13, 2007 that Vargas would face Ricardo Mayorga on September 8, 2007 on Showtime PPV for the vacant WBC Continental Americas Super Middleweight title. However, the fight was postponed after it was discovered during a routine blood test that Vargas was suffering from a severe iron deficiency. Vargas claimed that this would be the last fight of his career regardless of the result. He warned Mayorga that he would not tolerate any insults from him like the ones he hurled at Oscar de la Hoya in their press conferences. Vargas stayed true to his promise when at the first official press conference for the fight, Mayorga said some offensive things towards Vargas and attempted to slap him. Vargas immediately jumped up from his seat and retaliated with punches, and a brawl broke out between the two fighters' camps, though order was quickly restored. Ultimately, the contestants faced off, and Mayorga defeated Vargas by majority decision on November 23, 2007. Vargas officially declared his retirement soon after. Soon after his retirement, he found out about the scam played by his manager, Joseph Luis Pecora. Vargas' attorney, Greg Ramirez, told the Star that Pecora allegedly pocketed about $400,000 and lost millions by mismanaging Vargas' financial affairs. Ramirez also said the Vargas family had to move out of their home as a result, and Vargas might have to start training to get back in the ring. Others who drank from the Vargas trough included an organization called Global Sports and Entertainment, which took several other former athletes for nearly $45 million after promises of high-yield returns usually reserved only for European dignitaries. Vargas has occasionally been rumored to be on the verge of a comeback, but he's still not fought since a loss to Ricardo Mayorga in 2007. Number 3 on our list is the one considered to be the greatest boxer of all time by many in the past, Walker Smith Jr., better known as Sugar Ray Robinson. Ray was an American professional boxer who competed from 1940 to 1965. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. Once regarded as the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Ray had a very dominant career in the ring. His exact amateur record is not known, but it is usually listed as 85-0 with 69 knockouts, 40 in the first round. Talk about some good numbers. From 1943 to 1951, Robinson went on a 91-fight unbeaten streak, the 6th longest in professional boxing history. Robinson was finally given a chance to win a title against Tommy Bell on December 20, 1946. Robinson had already beaten Bell once by decision in 1945. The two fought for the title vacated by Servo, who had himself lost twice to Robinson in non-title bouts. In the fight, Robinson, who only a month before had been involved in a 10-round brawl with Artie Levine, was knocked down by Bell. The fight was called a war, but Robinson was able to pull out a close 15-round decision, winning the vacant world welterweight title, followed by the middleweight title in 1950. In his autobiography, Robinson states that by 1965 he was broke, having spent all of the $4 million in earnings he made inside and out of the ring during his career. A month after his last fight, Robinson was honored with the Sugar Ray Robinson Night on December 10, 1965 in New York's Madison Square Garden. During the ceremony, he was honored with a massive trophy. However, there was not a piece of furniture in his small Manhattan apartment with legs strong enough to support it. Guess even the greatest of all time could not evade the fate of failed relationships, cursed businesses, and the long arm of the IRS. Our next fighter, number 2 on this list, is the former Olympic gold medalist Leon Spinks. In only his 8th professional fight, he won the undisputed heavyweight championship in 1978 after defeating the legendary champion of the people, Muhammad Ali, in a split decision, in what is considered to be one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. Spinks was later stripped of the WBC title for facing Ali in an unapproved rematch 7 months later, which he lost by a unanimous decision. Besides being heavyweight champion and his characteristic gap-toothed grin he got by losing 2 and later all 4 of his front teeth, Spinks gained notoriety for the disaster which befell his career following his loss to Ali. Even after all the downfalls he faced, he later rose to win 3 consecutive national light heavyweight championships, 1974 to 1976, followed by a gold medal at the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal. He filed for bankruptcy protection in 1986 from creditors to whom he owed $301,000, while claiming the $4.5 million he'd earned in the ring had been frittered away to just a $500 wardrobe and a $1,600 per month salary. His career ended for good in 1995 when he lost an 8-round decision to Fred Hoop that dropped his record to 26-17-3. By 2010, he was living in Nebraska while working at a McDonald's, as well as a local YMCA and running after-school programs for children. Being the best in the ring sometimes doesn't work out too well outside, which explains why many boxers don't want to pass on their legacy to their own children. Before we move on to our number 1 story on this list, I would suggest you to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update on mind-blowing tales from the world of boxing. Coming on to number 1 amongst the greatest boxers to go back to rags from riches, the story of the great Joe Louis. Joseph Louis Barrow was an American professional boxer who competed from 1934 to 1951. Nicknamed the Brown Bomber, Louis is widely regarded as one of the greatest and most influential boxers of all time. He reigned as the world heavyweight champion from 1937 until his temporary retirement in 1949. Victorious in 25 consecutive title defenses, a record for all weight classes, Louis had the longest single reign as champion of any boxer in history. Louis had his fair share of popularity even outside the ring. Widely regarded as the first African-American to achieve the status of a nationwide hero of the United States, Louis earned his title through anti-Nazi sentiments because of his historic rematch with German boxer Max Schmeling in 1938. It was the first time that many white Americans openly cheered for a black man against a white opponent. Now, you might be wondering, even after a wonderful career like his, how could something have gone wrong? Despite Louis's lucrative purses over the years, most of the proceeds went to his handlers. Of the over $4.6 million earned during his boxing career, Louis himself received only about $800,000. Louis was nevertheless extremely generous to his family, paying for homes, cars, and education for his parents and siblings, often with money fronted by Jacobs. He invested in a number of businesses, all of which eventually failed. He gave liberally to the government as well, paying back the city of Detroit for any welfare money his family had received. A combination of his largesse and government intervention eventually put Louis in severe financial straits. His entrusting of his finances to former manager Mike Jacobs haunted him. After the $500,000 IRS tax bill was assessed, with interest accumulating every year, the need for cash precipitated Louis's post-retirement comeback. Even though his comeback earned him significant purses, the incremental tax rate in place at the time, 90%, meant that these boxing proceeds did not even keep pace with interest on Louis's tax debt. As a result, by the end of the 1950s, he owed over $1 million in taxes and interest. In 1953, when Louis's mother died, the IRS appropriated the $667 she had willed to Louis. Some bad decisions put the boxing star in such circumstances that, in a final irony, Louis's funeral in 1981 was partially paid for by his former two-time foe, Max Schmeling, who was once seen as a villain in Louis's story. These were some legends from the history of boxing who made a legacy in the ring while lost in the fight of finance. Make sure to share your thoughts in the comments, and we would love to hear out for some suggestions by you. We'll be back with another great video about boxing. Until then, keep fighting, keep growing.